Hello everybody, I'm Mariano Cirone, member of AAE, a consultancy company that together with CATS is contributing to the REDD Plus readiness process in Belize. First of all, on behalf of my colleagues, I would like to say that we would love to be there in person with you for this very important workshop, which is central to our task. However, the COVID-19 pandemic does not permit it. So this video is just a way to get closer to you and to introduce you to some concept for the work you will be doing today with our friends from CATS. First, let's start by talking about what climate change is.
Friends, have you noticed that the weather has been changing? In some places I have heard it has been flooding, and others are suffering from drought. Why is this happening? We, as indigenous peoples, live in the forest. We know the land here better than any other. But now we see that things are changing. We used to know when the rains would come, the right time to plant seeds, but now it rains at the wrong time, if at all. The rivers are different. The forest is changing, and the animals no longer guide us. Why? People outside the village have told me the earth is getting warmer, and that's why things are changing.
As a result of the Industrial Revolution that kicked off in the mid-1700s, the Earth's surface is warming up at a never-seen-before rate. A major reason for the rise in temperatures is the increase in the concentration of greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere. These cause our planet to retain heat from the sun. Greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane are released into the atmosphere when fossil fuels are burned. Trees and oceans absorb carbon dioxide, but can't handle the large amounts that are now building up in the Earth's atmosphere. And because our forests are shrinking, even less carbon dioxide is absorbed. The high levels of carbon dioxide are already acidifying oceans, killing off coral reefs. It's also triggering a dangerous rise in sea levels and an increase in extreme weather events.
What kinds of things will happen if the Earth gets warmer?
Well, if the Earth is warmer, it means that more water goes into the air from the oceans, so more rain will fall in some areas and cause flooding. In some countries, because the air is so much hotter, the water in the air cannot turn into rain, and that means drought. If it becomes hotter, there will be wildfires. Diseases, insects and plants will move either to get away from or grow with the warmth. This is why the people of the Earth need to take carbon dioxide out of the air and stop it from being made.
The forest is characterized as the green lung of the earth, as forests produce oxygen and store huge amounts of carbon at the same time. But due to the clearing of forests worldwide, more and more carbon is released into the air, where it turns into carbon dioxide, better known as greenhouse gas emissions. Unregulated forest clearance and destruction, especially in the tropics, is responsible for about 17% of all greenhouse gas emissions worldwide. That almost equals the amount of greenhouse gas emissions produced by industry and exceeds those caused by the transport sector.
The more carbon that escapes into our atmosphere in the form of CO2, the faster Earth heats up. The result is a dramatic climate change that threatens the living conditions of billions of people, including us.
With every passing day, it becomes more important to take actions against climate change, and forests play a key role in this regard. But what is as important as forest conservation is to sustain and improve people's livelihoods and ecosystem services that they depend on, like biodiversity, food security, traditional use and knowledge, among others very important as well. Considering the importance of forests, the international community is implementing a mechanism called REDD Plus to preserve and restore the world forest.
REDD Plus is an internationally recognised strategy embedded in the Paris Agreement on climate change, supporting countries in the south to preserve their forests. Deforestation is usually driven by strong economic motives, with tropical forests in particular often being destroyed to make way for farmland. The main beneficiaries of palm oil and soy cultivation or large-scale livestock farming are the big investors, while local communities suffer from its adverse consequences in the long term. This is because the damage is almost irreparable. Once the forest has gone, it takes decades to restore even part of it. Hence, anyone keen to protect forests at global level needs to take these economic aspects into account. Conservation has to be worth it, and that is precisely where REDD+ comes in. REDD stands for Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation, which means reducing the CO2 emissions caused by the clearing and destructive exploitation of forests. Restoring forest landscapes and promoting sustainable forest management also have a role to play in sequestering CO2. That is what the plus stands for. Under the REDD+ scheme, tropical countries can receive financial rewards if they can demonstrate that they are protecting their forests better or utilising them more sustainably than before. When it comes to making these payouts, it is essential that the money also benefits local and indigenous communities, as this is the only way to attract interest in forest conservation at a local level too. The future of generations to come all over the world depends crucially on the fate of our forests, and the tropical ones in particular. That is why we need to protect them.
Considering that REDD+ is about forests, it is acknowledged that indigenous peoples are among the main actors to ensure forest conservation in the long term, but also due to the potential that REDD+ provides to deliver benefits. However, there can also be certain risks and negative impacts if REDD+ is not properly designed and implemented, or if indigenous people are not properly consulted and engaged throughout the process.
Now listen to this. If governments are looking at controlling forests as part of a REDD+ agreement, this will affect us. There will be changes in laws and governance, and we will be on the front line. We can and must take part and have our voices heard, but not as a people left on the side, but as a central part of REDD+. Under this REDD+ agreement, it is required that the rights and traditional knowledge of indigenous peoples and local communities shall be respected. This is because indigenous peoples insisted that their rights be recognized in the REDD+ agreement. REDD+ requires that we, as indigenous peoples, shall have full and effective participation in all phases of REDD+. This means that governments will have to consult and involve us. The REDD+ agreement is not fixed. It is made so each country can adapt it for itself. This is why we must be part of its development from the very start, in order that we can help shape the way it looks.
I hope this video has been of your interest and can serve as background information for the group work you will be part of today. On behalf of the AA team, I thank you very much for being part of this important process to help the country move forward in its REDD+ readiness process. Please take care and enjoy the workshop. Thanks a lot for your time and goodbye.